Hey there, viewers. Welcome back to the Self-Made Auto Channel. That's a 2013 Chevrolet. It's a Sonic. It's got the big 1.4. The guy brought in some brake parts he wants to put on. He painted up his calipers and his brackets and his rotors. Wants us to put them on there, flush out his brake fluid, and ship it down the road. This fella's doing the whole enchilada. He brought a whole bucket load of parts, including the brake hoses here. And being that this baby's not too rusty, we'll just whiz these right out. Doesn't happen too often around here, I'll say that. Usually if we're unhooking a brake line, it's, with a pair of side cutters or vice grips. So we got a pan down there on the floor to catch some of this. I'll get this spun off. Save the retainer, drop it right on the floor. And I'm just gonna stick a little something here over the brake line. A rubber plug, keep that from PPing. And then that baby will come right out, so no problem there. Back up the clip here. It does not look like my little rubber cover is working as well as it should. So what we'll do, we'll take the one off this brake bleeder, see if that one's a little tighter. See if you can get it just right. It'll slow it down anyways. And then they hook down in the strut down here. They're just sticking there with a chunk of rubber. So you'll be able to just pull that out. Come on. Technically, if it wasn't a freaking wuss bag. Yeah, there we go. Good golly. We'll take the screw out of the rotor. This little guy, he even got these. He got everything new. See if that baby comes out. So it makes it kind of nice because we don't have to take apart the caliper and we just pull the two bolts out, throw the whole thing back in this box, stick it back in the trunk. We'll peel the whole caliper and bracket all in one assembly here. There's that. Got the life out of them. Only about one pedal pump by. You can't see crap. Not too bad. A little bit of rust. Must have been thumping like crazy. Inside pad is wore just about down to nothing. But I tried to show you. The hub face here is pretty good. We're going to clean up just the outside edge there. Very lightly. The inside is actually really good. Whole thing's really good, actually. Gosh dang it, I can't hang on to crap today. And then I'm going to use some of the Permatex Extreme on this hub face. And typically I use the film, as you guys know, the fluid film. The thing is, I don't really care much for this as a caliper grease. So I just want to use it up. It's the last can of it I have. So we've just been using it on hub faces here just to have it serve a purpose and not just throw it straight in the trash, I guess. Got these new rotors. I don't know if he painted them or if they came like this or what the story is, but they're all black. I think they're EBC, whatever that stands for. And then, like I say, it does have new screws. I'm sure these screws have a torque spec. I just go light. And these are the rest of the fancy parts. Apparently some kind of like $300 ceramic paint job or something he had on these. I don't know. Don't ask too many questions. So we got all the new jiggly bits. Now on the pins, I have been using just pure silicone, just the clear stuff. What we're going to do is we just want to smear a little around the edges. And then these boots they're actually directional. So that side that's got the step in it there is the side that goes onto the bracket. All right, and I always put a little bit of silicone, I think you guys have seen me do this in the past, around the outside edge because that's where they have the tendency to rust. Now I don't know if with this fancy schmancy coating if any of this is necessary. But we're still going to do it. Let's see, that goes in the vehicle like that. Now the pin with the rubber on it goes towards the top. So we're going to take and lube these up. make sure that some of your lube gets all the way up towards the top here, where the boot clicks on it. That's where these have a tendency to rust. All right, so that one's going to go towards the upper, and then your plain Janie is going to go down towards the lower, obviously, the only hole that's open. Off my digits here for a second. Now when you push these in, you're going to have to burp them because they're going to seal really well. So just kind of push it down and then just let the air out of the boot there. Just pull it open a little bit with your finger if you can. There we go. Just let the air out. You don't want them springing out on you because they actually can put just enough pressure there to start cooking your brake pads when you drive. You don't want to ask me how I know, but trust me. And then for the rest of the bits, we're going to be using the CRC Silveramic. Now they don't sponsor us, however, I'm on my second tube of this stuff, and I like it. It's pretty thick, it's pretty heavy, and you can tell it's going to stick around a while. You got to be kind of careful with it because you can actually build it up a little too much. So we're going to just do it on the caliper brackets, right where the pin, or right where the abutment clips go. A lot of people I've seen disagree with this, but it's a method I've used for over 20 years, living in the Rust Belt, and it has proven itself time and time again. Now, the ultimate way to do it in the Rust Belt is like this, exactly like this. I'm not saying you got to have a stage 12 ultra hard ceramic coat put on it or whatever, but ideally, given time, you would sandblast it, get all the rust out, paint the bracket, you know, with a quality paint, and then grease it, and then put on quality hardware. That would give you your best longevity overall, in my opinion. All right, now the inner pad has a squealer on it, and on this Chevy, the squealer goes towards the top, so it should be facing the pin that has the rubber boot on it there. 9 out of 10 times it doesn't matter here in the Rust Belt because your pads never make it down to the squealers. Now these are some kind of environmentally friendly pad or something there. I was reading, they got no metal in them. They're made out of, I don't know, unicorn tears and something else. Grass clippings, I guess. Kind of like driving a Prius now. So we're going to get these things in. Their backing plates, their casting is pretty rough. The other one I had to knock some burrs and crap off it. But anyhow, these ones seem to go pretty smooth. Yep, so these ones are pretty smooth. They move easily by hand. And then we're going to take our caliper. And we're going to put a little grease on that baby. The metal contacts is the main thing. Smooth that all around. Love this grease. There's another CRC grease that I use. The black grease comes in the big tub. That stuff's actually works pretty well too, but this is like one stage above that. So there's that. Now these do have a phenolic piston. We don't necessarily have to grease it, but we always put a little on there. We don't have to grease it in the sense that we want it to not rust. Obviously it's not going to rust when it's made out of fancy plastic. Got all new bolts. We'll stick this baby right on here before we stick it on the car. But we'll torque everything down to factory specs once it's on the car. Wish every brake job was like this. Change my brakes. Make it all brand new. Here's our new hose. So we're going to put that on before we do anything. And that comes with the whole deal. Comes with the banjo bolt. And just the banjo bolt and the copper washers. Now we got these new bolts. Let's go back to the car. Just want to get some of that dirt out of there. blow some of the dirt off this clip. Try not to drop it down in the hose. So what we'll do, stick this baby up here. And then we need to figure out, because see, this is spline. So typically brake hoses, when they go in the bracket, they only go one way. Well, this goes multiple ways. So what you need to do is kind of lay it up there, stick the rubber thing back in there. But you want to make sure that your banjo fitting is going to be oriented correctly. It's going to be clocked in the right position, because you don't want a big old curly Q in your brake hose. So this is going to be sitting like this, because it's going to go into the caliper. So that's kind of held there. That's kind of like that. Boom. That looks like it's going to be just about right. Might have to turn it just one iota. One little scotch. There it is. And then we're going to stick it back in here, back into the strut. Come on, you mother-loving son of a... Probably should have put a little lube on it before you just go ramming it in. Come on, baby. Oh, she's tight like a tiger. There, that's still oriented correctly. That's oriented correctly. And we need our clip, which just sits on here. It's just a little spring-loaded deal. Get our hose hooked back up here. And as you tighten that down, that nut hits that clip and just kind of holds it up in. It's kind of cheesy, but it works. And obviously get your torque wrench. Get this all torqued down. Need to clean up our mess a little bit here. Plus we want to make sure we got no leaking. I put the pinch off pliers on there so it doesn't keep peeing out of the hose here. I may got a little bit on this rotor. Take and wipe that off. Not a big deal. As soon as we use the brakes, this is all going to burn off it anyways. Now we got that all good. We're going to slip our loaded caliper assembly right on there. Wiggle that right down. Now the bolts, you did buy new bolts. I put a little Loctite on them. Get them babies lined up. I think these were like 70 some foot-pounds, 74 maybe, somewhere in that neighborhood. Obviously make sure you're checking service data yourself. Never trust anything you see on the internet. Once you get that little guy up there, put your brake hose back on, both washers, torque to spec, and then we're going to go through and tighten these up before we forget them. On this car, these were 21 foot-pounds, and then I think, like I said, 70 something there on the inside. We'll call it 74. Then we got to get it bled out. Now before I picked it up, because he wanted a brake fluid flush, I hooked the power bleeder up. That way we wouldn't have to screw around with that. So I'll get that rubber cap off. Got the little hose extension here so we don't make it too big a mess. And we'll just let her flow for a while. What this is doing, this is forcing all the old fluid out of the master cylinder and replenishing it with new fluid at the same time. So I'll just let this go until it pisses out clear, and then we'll pump up the brakes and have to do the same thing on the other side. I already did the other side here. Looks all about the same, except it's on the left instead of the right. Same ordeal. But like I say, you know, index your hose. If you have that twisted, you'll end up with a big old pigtail right here or down here. So it's kind of unusual to see a brake hose that can go in at multiple angles. It's actually kind of nice. Peeing down there. Still pretty dark colored. We'll give it some time. Hey!
What?
Quit poking around in there.
I'm not touching anything.
Go ahead and pump up the brakes there, young lady. Get all the pistons to come out all the way. How does it feel, baby?
Pretty hard.
Now that the pistons are out, I just want to go through, because sometimes they'll have a little air trap behind them. So now we still have the power bleeder on. Okay, go ahead and just start pumping them up there, Vanessa. Full stroke it all the way to the bottom. Well, it sounds like you got to calm down a little bit.
I'm not doing anything.
Okay.
I'm just pushing it down, letting it go.
That's good. That's good. So now we'll just let it run for a while. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Just want to make sure we have any air that was trapped behind the piston in there, all that stuff pushed out, and then we'll just let it keep drizzling. Once that's done, we just come through, we double check for leaks, put the caps back on. Everything looks good. I got it there and pushed on the pedal pretty hard. No leaks at our banjo fittings. Now typically when we're using a brake fluid flush, I would do the back wheels. This has aluminum wheel cylinders in it, and them bleeders don't feel too good. And they ain't gonna get me today, boys. Wheels are torqued to factory specs. Brake pedal's nice hard. 70, almost 77K on her. Brakes feel a little aggressive. We better hang this thing on the window. It came with this here. Hang that up there just so he drives with extra care for the first few days to allow the brakes to properly seat. Alright, very important. Here, we'll back right out in front of this guy. See how good his brakes are. Must be pretty good. Oh, they're super noisy. It's like those Napa Adaptive 1 brake pads. Crazy noisy the first 6 or 7 stops. Oh my goodness, man, these things are wicked aggressive there. I don't know if it's a fancy paint or the fancy green pads or the fancy rotors. Or the combination of all three of them. Oops, there goes our warning sign. I think tomorrow's Halloween or somewhere thereabouts. We gotta take this one right back to the shop, folks. Don't have time to hit the big road. I've got another appointment there waiting, so I gotta roll. Try to hang this up. What's this say? Always be lucky. Always try to get lucky. That's what I say. So we'll hang this up. And that's that, folks. Don't know a lot about EBC brakes and how great they are. Don't ask me questions about them. We just slapped on the customer parts. I'll tell you this, so whatever the screen combination thing he has going on, they are insanely aggressive. You just like fuse your little pinky toe on there, and that'll probably change as they seat in, as they say. I gotta go. What I want you to do is go on down to that comment section, the questions, the Insta, the Facebook. You know the routine, folks. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.